Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the Seed and Plant Varieties Amendment Bill 2025 be read a second time. Mr. Speaker, as I rise to move this bill, I want to take my time in clarifying what this bill is and what this bill is not. Because there's been a lot of negative debate, which is sponsored by KEFIS, in the local medias on what this bill is and what this bill is not. First of all, I want to reiterate the fact that as a country, we must support innovation. We must support local-based solutions to be able to solve our problems. I've got a few facts, Mr. Speaker, that I want to put out across before I get into the bill. That will be able to help people understand this bill. Mr. Speaker, CAP 326 is the Seed and Plant Variety Act, which was designed to be able to set guidelines on how seeds should be certified, as well as to regulate all transactions involving seeds and plant varieties in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, when we talk about seeds, seeds are very, very, very emotive, and they're also very important, interest-building all around the globe. Mr. Speaker, we have two organizations that regulates or that comes up together to be able to promote seeds, really the economy of seeds around the world. And when we talk about seeds, there are companies that if you mention seed, they will do whatever it takes to make sure that they stop you from making any move, because that is their bread and butter. We have two main organizations which are very clear. One is the OECD. OECD is a club of 38 countries around the world. These 38 countries around the world starts from Australia, and they go all the way down to the United States. If you go to the internet, and I want to persuade Kenyans to take the time and ask themselves which countries comprises of the OECD members. And they will see that not a single African country is a member of OECD. The work of the OECD, the primary difference between this organization is that OECD is a broad economic forum for developed countries. And this is where KEFIS, which is the service that has been given powers by this CAP 326 to be able to regulate and to ensure that seed varieties in Kenya meet standards, subscribe to. We have a different one, Mr. Speaker, which is called the UPOV. This one, Mr. Speaker, first of all, before I go to the UPOV, I want to reiterate that Kenya is not a member of the OECD. The only thing that Kenya does is that when you go to a meeting called upon by OECD, you literally sit there, like we recently did when we went to Hyderabad in India, a trip sponsored by KEFIS to try and convince me to drop the seed. You sit there just to say this is how we do it in our country, so that you can contribute to how policy should be developed to support these countries that produce seeds and sells abroad. Essentially meaning Kenya will no longer be a seed producer, but a consumer. So, Mr. Speaker, to get into the issues of the bill, is that the principal objective of my bill, Seed and Plant Variety Act, CAP 326, is to introduce a standard-based and registration system administered by the Kenya Bureau of Standards. And I want to stop there, Mr. Speaker. Currently, every seed certificate in this country, regulation, is being carried out by KEFIS, which is a service. Now, Senator Sen.Olekina introduces a new bill that introduces another regulator, which is KEBS, Kenya Bureau of Standards. In fact, someone would say, why are you complicating matters? Why is it that you do not want to support KEFIS to be able to regulate these seeds? And my answer is very simple, Mr. Speaker. Currently, it takes up to 4 years for any seed company in this country to develop a seed and put it into trial for them to be certified by KEFIS that that seed is good for human consumption. What negative effect does that have, Mr. Speaker? Is that, number one, KEFIS is not designed based on their practice, their bureaucratic bottlenecks, to support local innovation. Their task is one, to protect the OECD members, who are an international community made up of 38 countries. The system that I am now proposing is a system, Mr. Speaker, that has been adopted by countries like Canada, countries like the United States, countries like India, countries like Australia, that recognize that so long as we support only one system, a country will remain to become a consumer and not a producer. In India today, there are two parallel systems. One that subscribes to OECD protocols, and the other one that is local-based. And that is what I'm proposing here today, which will be a standard-based seed registration system that will be administered by KEBS as an alternative. I am not saying that KEFIS should not do their work. All I'm saying is that KEFIS focus on your foreign market. Focus on trying to come up with seeds that can be able to compete worldwide. And currently, as we speak, Mr. Speaker, save from sunflower, we do not have any seed that can be able to compete worldwide. And that is because of the rigid, bottleneck, bureaucratic process that has been put in place by KEFIS. Today, Mr. Speaker, and I want to bring this discussion home. Today, in Kenya, if you plant beans, the seeds which are available in this country, and this is a fact, because I want to invite KEFIS and also anyone else who would want to talk about why is it that Olekina is bringing these changes to this CAP 326, to debate based on facts. Today, Mr. Speaker, if you plant 1 hectare of beans in Kenya, on the seed variety that exists in this country, your yield will be 0.7 metric tons per hectare. If you jerk your head a little bit and you go to a neighboring country, on your left, Uganda, for 1 hectare of beans, the yield is 1.7 metric tons. If you go to Tanzania, the yield is about 1.6 metric tons. If you go to Rwanda, the yield is 1.7 metric tons. If you go to Ethiopia, the yield is about 1.7 metric tons. So you ask yourself, why? The problem has been because it takes up to 4 years and a minimum of $50,000 for a company, a local-based company, a small company, to be able to develop a seed that can be able to compete with international companies that are regulated under the OECD testing systems. Mr. Speaker, it is about time that we think local, we come up with local solutions to be able to ensure food security in this country. I want to repeat and say the following, that the current seed approval process has been plagued by inefficiency and delays, with new varieties taking an average of up to 4 years to be approved. What I'm proposing, Mr. Speaker, is a standard-based registration system that will take a different trajectory to ensure that we put these plans into our economy. One that will take a minimum or a maximum of 60 days. And why am I saying that, Mr. Speaker? Currently, there are two systems around the world for field trials. One is field trials, which is called the DUS. And the other one is a genetic fingerprint. Today, Mr. Speaker, I have a cow, and I'm very proud of that cow, that produces 57 liters of milk a day. I want to go to the lab and take the blood of that cow and try it and use standard that KEBS subscribe to, which is a UPOV, based international standard, that Africa has representation, that Kenya is a member of the UPOV testing standards. To be able to safeguard, keep these genetics for my cow, so that tomorrow I can be able to have more cows that will continue producing 57 liters and above. Today, Mr. Speaker, if there is an issue of doubt when it comes to the issue of parental, or if you are said to have sired a child, and you say this is not my child, the only way you can be able to prove that is not through field trials alone. To go out there and say, oh, this person looks like the good senator from Meru. No, you go to a body approved by the government to carry out DNA. And DNA is 99.9% accurate that that child is yours. So, Mr. Speaker, I want KEFIS to continue doing their work. KEFIS will continue doing their work, regulating certified seeds that are made for the international market. Let them use the DUS system of testing. But let us try and think on how we can be able to improve our economy, Mr. Speaker. Let us think on how we can be able to make sure that our farmers are getting good yields. Today, Mr. Speaker, Narok County is the leading wheat producer in the country. But I want to tell you this, as a farmer, some of us are running away from wheat. Why? Because the seed varieties which are in the country today, Mr. Speaker, are forcing farmers now to only get a yield of about 7 to 10 bags per acre. Yet before, Mr. Speaker, we would get 35 bags per acre. Why are we stifling innovation, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, recently, KEFIS sponsored a myriad of articles in the Star and also the Standard newspapers. And today, although I've already clarified, but today I want to clarify what these proposals are and what they are not. If we look at countries like Canada, USA, India, and Australia, they operate a dual seed system. Certified seed is used to protect export credibility, while quality assurance, QA, or truth in label system keeps seeds affordable and accessible to domestic farmers. Today, Mr. Speaker, if you ask a farmer out there if they know KEFIS, they will probably tell you, we don't know KEFIS. If you ask them if they know KEBS, they will tell you, we trust KEBS. For me to drink this water, the first thing that I look at it is that, does it have a KEBS certificate? Does it have a KEBS number? Yes, it does. What protocols of testing does KEBS subscribe to versus what protocols do KEFIS subscribe to? If you look at KEBS, they are subscribing to protocols of an organization that we as a country, back in 1999, we became a member of UPOV, having acceded to the 1978 Act of the Conventions. That was in 1999. So, Mr. Speaker, it is important to be clear on why this bill must be supported if we want to improve the yield, if we want to encourage companies to be able to come and invest in this country to produce seeds. Today, Mr. Speaker, there is one company, I think that company is called Western Seed Company Limited, that decided that enough of this Kefis mess, we are relocating to Zambia. They are currently in Zambia. That company should have been here to be able to help produce seeds here and to build this economy. What, Mr. Speaker, I'm proposing is something which will be revolutionary, something which will be able to position Kenya and standards, put Kenya at a place where the rest of the countries are, where a country like America is, where a country like Australia is, you know. And Mr. Speaker, I'll be very brief because I know my colleagues will be seconding. But now that I think I still have some time, I want to go through the bill and try to respond to issues that have been brought about by certain key stakeholders who oppose this bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, I've taken my time to look at the bill that I drafted, and I want to take this opportunity to say that later on, I will actually be clarifying certain things that those who opposed to this bill made me realize that, yes, there are certain areas that needed to be corrected. Like if you look at the bill that I've proposed, Mr. Speaker, is that I'm going to be adding a new provision in that bill, which will be a Section 3A, that talks about KEBS being the Bureau shall be the national designated authority for the administrations and exclusive control of the standard-based seed system. So no confusion. KEFIS handle the seed certification for export market. KEBS, you will be the exclusive one that will be dealing with issues to do with a local standard-based system. So there's no confusion there. Number two, Mr. Speaker, some of the things that I will also be adding would be that I realize that in the bill, because we are rushing it, dealing with all the negativity, we refer to as the service. And KEFIS is the only service referred to as the service in definition by CAP 326. So in this case, we are going to be removing the word service and substituting it with the word bureau, so that it is clear that it is KEBS that is going to be, today if we have Senator Consolata saying, I own a company that is producing seed and I want to take this alternative route that has been introduced to enhance local innovation, they will go straight to KEBS, follow through these steps, and remember, KEBS will not be an avenue for you to be able to come in and bring substandards. No, they subscribe to the highest standards of testing, the UPOV, which Kenya is a member. So they will be doing that. We will not just be spectators on the OECD. No, we will be taking control of our economy. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I will also be changing, instead of saying, but I'll also be calling it the cultivars of the crops. Because we now are very clear that what we want is to come up with crops that will be registered, monitored, regulated by KEBS, and only KEBS can be able to control that. Number two, Mr. Speaker, some of the things that I'm going to be making some changes at during the third reading is on who has the power to be able to add into the list. Not to modify, but to add crops into that list, which will be the Cabinet Secretary. Mr. Speaker, I want to now dwell into a couple very important matters that I really would like my colleagues to listen to. And as I dwell into these matters, because I've seen one of my good friends has just walked in, one of the reasons why I decided to sponsor this bill is because, as a farmer, I'm sick and tired of low yields. I cannot plant 1 acre of beans and get 700 kilos. Yet my neighbor in Uganda is getting 1.7 metric tons, 1,700 kilos. And it's only because in that country, in Tanzania, in Rwanda, in Ethiopia, in Zambia, they are willing to engage in a conversation that promotes innovation. That is one of the things that has really irked me, and I decided that I have to support this. Mr. Speaker, it is also important to realize, and this is where I want to at least share some input, because I've taken some time to do a comparative analysis, to look at countries that use a dual system. You know, there's a debate out there, Mr. Speaker, that I am now, with this bill, we are going to put our country at risk of getting substandard seeds. That is so wrong. That argument negates the power that institutions like KEBS have in this country. Also, ignores comparative analysis of other nations that have developed. I've given an example of Australia. I've given an example of Canada. The United States in itself that has got 50 states. 50 states. There, they have 2 of them. They have AOSCA quality assurance, and they also have a QA program. They look at these 2, one that caters to the domestic market. That is where I am. I want our farmers in Murang'a. I want our farmers in Kirinyaga. I want our farmers in Nyandarua to plant beans, and instead of getting 700 kilos, they have the ability to see companies out there that are producing seeds that is giving them 2 tons. That is what I want. I do not want to be made to become a consumer. I want to be a producer. And that is the argument that I'm having here. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the system that KEFIS is emphasizing on and the argument that they're making, including an argument brought about by, and I'm happy that these stakeholders took the time to contribute to this bill. There's an argument which has been brought about by the Plant Breeders Association of Kenya, saying that they are opposed to this bill because of the following. They said that we are moving away from field trials to lab trials. And my question is this: are we still in the 19th century or are you in the 21st century? What that argument negates or forgot is that they made an assumption that field trials or DUS testing, which is the one which is promoted by OECD member, is the only way to be able to tell whether a seed is good. I am now saying it's about time that we think like the 21st century and ensure that we promote a genetic fingerprint. We will go to KEBS, who subscribe to the UPV, and will say, this seed, I'm finishing, this seed, we can follow the genetics, and we can be able to see where it has come from. And most importantly, it will be Kenyan, promoted by Kenyan company. There's a huge fundamental misunderstanding, which is what I want to clarify. And I'll also get some more time during the replying to be able to clarify a few things. Those who are opposing the dual system ignores global practice, Mr. Speaker. You cannot say that a country like the United States of America that has recognized the importance of supporting innovations is wrong by saying we will have a system that only promotes our local products. You cannot say that. I'm happy to engage with the Plant Breeders Association of Kenya and demonstrate to them that we have both. We have the DUS system that focuses 100% on field trials, and we have the genetic fingerprint. That is very, very key. Genetic fingerprint. You cannot go wrong with a DNA test. It will show you. It will also, when you try them in a lab setting, and that is where we're going. Today we're talking about artificial intelligence. A lot of things that we sit down and we talk can be better on explained by Chat GPT. You might struggle and say, what am I going to do? How do I do this? And then you ask Chat GPT, how do I put this out here? And it will explain to you. So we cannot run away from innovation. We cannot run away from technology. We must embrace technology. Mr. Speaker, I want to plead with my colleagues, because I realize that we don't have a lot of time. I want to plead with my colleagues to support this bill. And I'll summarize the reasons why. Number one, it is time for us to adopt a DNA fingerprint. It is time for us to support KEBS, which subscribe to UPUV, that subscribe to very, very high standards of testing. It is time for us to get upset of the losses we are getting in our fields when we plant beans and you can only get 700 kilos, while your neighbor who have adopted a local system is getting almost 2 tons. It is time, Mr. Speaker, that we also take time to understand our history as a country, where we are going and where we've come from. If we continue living as a consumer nation, just to consume, we're never going to go anywhere. Things are changing around the world, Mr. Speaker. Now, when you live in America or when you live in the UK or even in Germany, there's a new narrative of go back home, go back home. So if you're sent to go back home and when you come here, you can only get 700 kilos of beans per acre, how will you survive? If you decide to pick farming as your bread and butter. I want to thank, Mr. Speaker, all those who supported this. And as I end in making my initial submissions on this bill, it is wrong, Mr. Speaker, for a local company to spend up to $50,000 4 years to get their seed variety registered. Yet, the actual cost is only $3,500. It is wrong, Mr. Speaker. And I'll give you certain statistics for me to be able to sit down. And this is the economic impact analysis that I've done on the importance of this bill, these amendments. If we allow a standard-based system, the efficiency level, which currently KEFI suffers from lack of efficiency. And I want to challenge you, go to KEFI's website and compare it with KEB's website. You will see the turn of event on how you can be able to do your registration of any product that you have. If we support this bill, Mr. Speaker, the efficiency level will jump up to 95%. In 6 months, you've introduced a new variety, you've gone out there, and you are bound to make sure that that variety of seed does well. Number two, Mr. Speaker, productivity growth. With this bill, there is a potential of 5.3 billion potential GDP increase from 15% agricultural productivity improvement. Because currently we are lacking behind, because what farmers are producing is not good enough. Number two, one of my biggest pet peeves, Mr. Speaker, is that our farmers currently are still using recycled seeds. Come on. Can we now get new variety which are homeborn? This bill will increase that by 30%. Finally, as I sit, today, Mr. Speaker, there are 17.2 million children in pre-primary, primary and secondary schools in Kenya. Today's school fees is estimated to be $215 billion, or $1.67 billion. The estimated benefit from improved seed access under this proposed bill, Mr. Speaker, would increase income for farmers and agricultural GDP, enabling Kenyans to cover its total annual school fees 3 times. We will end this debate of bursaries because farmers will be able to sell their produce and pay their kids' school fees. Mr. Speaker, I move this bill to be read a second time, and I kindly request Senator Segei to second.
Senator Segei.
Mr. Speaker, listening to the Honorable Olekina moving this bill, one would appreciate and understand the reasons behind